Welcome back, you lovely people, to another video. We're here in the mini stock rookie oval series in iRacing, and after that intro, are we going to be able to survive all that carnage? As we are about to get going here, we tried to change from second to third and we actually missed shift, and I don't realize it until it's far too late, and we get swamped by the cars behind, so we immediately drop about 6 or 7 positions. We'd go from third to 10th, and not the greatest start, but I'm not too worried at this stage because I dipped into Reddit the other day and asked them for tips and tricks for the oval series for rookies, and they suggested don't burn out your tyres on the first 10 laps or so, and you will be far more competitive towards the end of the race. So that's what we're going to concentrate on doing. We're going to see if we can maintain our tyres, try and avoid burning them up on this opening kind of first 10 or 15 laps, and see if we can come back later in the race for some positions. There is potential always in rookie series for some carnage, so we're going to see if we can avoid that and capitalize on other people's mistakes. So just kind of keeping pace with the cars in front, trying to not push too hard, trying to keep the inside line as you see here, trying to avoid any kind of dive bombs or anyone coming up our inside. We get a spin on our left, car goes flying up in the air, and we're going to cut to an external view here. As you can see, he gets forced off the track, up the mound, and just goes absolute Dukes of Hazzard. That was nuts to see in the race, and I kind of had to go back and look at the replay and be like, what just happened? But yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. So lap number 5, coming around to finish it. We're up to 8th position. We've gained 2 positions thanks to that, but we have a car on our inside, and he's being a bit feisty. And I did race him on a race before this, and I felt kind of bad because I actually kind of spun him out accidentally for the lead of the race, and yeah, I felt awful. So I wasn't pushing into him too hard here or kind of battling him too much. I was kind of leaving the space and giving him a bit more space and a bit more respect because I didn't want to ruin his race 2 races in a row. So anyway, we're finishing lap number 7 coming up now. Coming up onto lap number 8, we're down to 9th, but again, as I said, we're kind of maintaining around 16.9, 16.8. We're not pushing too hard. I think my qualifying time was about 16.5, so we can go faster, but I'm trying to maintain my tyres. Trying to be very gentle on the inputs, brakes and the accelerator, just kind of trail braking a little bit here and there into the corners, trying not to burn up the tyres too much. As we get another spin up in front, blue car goes on the inside, hits the curb. We go wide, avoid him, so we get kind of lucky there and avoid any accident. As you can see here, he goes in a bit too deep, touches the car in front, goes over the curb, spins out, gets collected by 2 cars. 3 cars, that's us in the red, number 8 going around the outside, so we capitalize on that mistake. So we gained a position or 2 there. Up to 7th position now. We've got a car on our outside. He's giving us plenty of space on the inside, so nice fair kind of racing there. He's trying to go for a slightly later apex. He's definitely on our outside. I'm being cautious here, trying to keep the car tight. In VR, it's a little hard sometimes to tell exactly where a car is, especially when they're on your kind of rear quarter panel. So I'm just being a bit cautious here. As I said, maintaining my tyres as best I can. We're up to 6th position. We're going to try and catch up to Stephen in 5th in the AC Delco car just up ahead. So right now I'm looking at him, trying to judge how his tyres are faring. We're about 12 laps in right now, so this is about the point now where I can start feeling, okay, if people pushed a bit too hard at the beginning, they're going to start struggling from here on in. And it's a 35 lap race, so if you are struggling after a third of the race, you're really kind of going to really struggle towards the end. And my tyres are feeling really good about this stage in the race, and I felt like I could push a lot more, but I was still thinking long term, thinking, you know, a 1/10 of a second a lap here for the 5 laps is going to ruin my race towards the end, and the car is going to understeer and be an absolute nightmare trying to get it in. I'm going to lose probably a 1/4 of a second per lap because the tyres are just shot. So just trying to maintain the tyres, trying to, you know, close up that gap with Stephen up in front. I can see he's not quite going on the inside line. He's kind of running a bit wide, missing kind of the apex. Maybe he's looking in his mirrors and he thinks I'm a little closer than I am. I am now alongside him, but he was definitely leaving gaps and kind of leaving a lane on the low side open. Maybe he's practicing for something else, I don't know, but we're going to take advantage of that and go around him and take the position. We're up to 5th position now, and 4th position's about 2 seconds ahead, and there's a lapped car between him and 3rd, so we'll see if he'll come into play at any stage in this race. But we're about 17 laps, we're halfway through this race, give or take, and we're up to 5th position. Good recovery so far after dropping down to 10th position, and just again starting to push more and more here, trying to close that gap. As you can see, it's down to 1.9. So trying to kind of use the tires a bit more now. I've babied them for the first kind of third of this race and starting to push them a little bit harder, but not going like total qualifying pace. I definitely wasn't pushing as hard as I could. A couple of cars have spun out up ahead, so brilliant rejoin there by this red car, red number 1. You can see here he just runs into a car trying to rejoin and just absolutely annihilates him, and then tries to rejoin in a very terrible way and just almost takes me out of the race. After all that chaos, we come out gaining position. We're up to 4th position. We're about 1.5 seconds behind David and about 2 seconds behind Josh in 2nd place, and then they have a couple of lapped cars ahead of them. So we're about 2/3 of the way through this race. I'm feeling quite confident right now. I've managed my tires pretty well. I'm not really feeling too much understeer or kind of fall off from the tires. I'm able to keep tight lines on the inside. I'm able to keep my lap times around the 16.8s, and I can see the guys ahead are struggling a little bit. They're not quite getting the car in tight on that apex. You'll see that they run a little wide here and there. The car isn't as settled or turning as much as my car, and you'll see that that gap between myself and David starts falling, and it's gone down to about 0.8 seconds now from that 1.5 in just about a lap or two. So we're gaining a lot of time right now, and that tip that I got on Reddit about just maintaining the tires for the first 10 laps seems to be starting to pay dividend right now, and we're gaining and gaining and gaining, and potentially, as there's about another 10 or 12 laps left in this race, we might be able to get a podium here, if not something better. And we're going to have to see what happens with lapped cars as well, and see if they come into play with any of the kind of guys in front of us or even the leader. So it's going to be a bit, we're going to see what happens basically, and we're just kind of, again, still maintaining the tires, starting to push a little bit more here and there, just because it's getting towards the end of the race. I know I might as well start using my tires more and more and start closing that gap as the gap comes down to just under 0.5 seconds. A couple of cars spin out in front of us. We go to evasive, avoid them. You're going to see the replay here. Our friend in the red car again gets involved in an accident, but there was a terrible rejoin by the blue car, and the red car gets involved in an accident again. We avoided it pretty much unscathed, so yeah, we're still in 3rd. This lapped car here, he was feisty, and he was cutting down onto the apex, and I had to back out a little bit there. We do a little bit of door banging there, but I'm not too concerned about it. It was a 0x. I didn't really affect his race. He's a lap down. He was affecting my race, so I'm not too concerned. I had to just get the elbows out a little bit there. But David is kind of a bit slower than us. I can sense he's not as smooth. He's not as, his car isn't turning in. You see there, I can see by the angle of the front wheel, he's really turning that wheel, and it's just not biting, and our car is. And we gained a position in all that Carnage, but we're now in the podium positions, but I'm sensing a good 2nd place here, and this would be my second place in rookies. This is only my 3rd race, and one of the previous races I finished 2nd, so it was a much lower strength of field. It was like 1.1, but this is 1.4, and I was feeling kind of feisty. I was feeling like I could fight out with these guys. We did show our nose a little bit on the inside of David, and he left a gap. It wasn't really a move. I wasn't really going for a move. I was just trying to put him off a little bit, and it seemed to work. Just having my nose somewhere in his mirror kind of spooked him a little bit, and he left a gap for us, which allowed me to just drive into that gap and get the move done. Coming up to finish lap number 32. We've only got a couple of laps to go, so I'm thinking right now, if I can pull away from David and keep 2nd position, that would be great, but no mistakes right now. The last thing I want to do is spin or hit the kind of inside concrete curb there and spin the car out. So just maintaining. I know I have probably a bit more life left in the tires, but I don't want to push too hard. Around this time now in the race, I was doing about a 17, maybe a 17.1 here and there. So I was still faster than the cars around us because I maintained my tires better than they did, but it wasn't a fast lap time. It was about 0.5 second slower than my qualifying times. So it is going to be a 2nd position. we're coming up onto the final lap here. White flag. It is going to be a second position as we come across the line momentarily. But I was very happy with this race. I kept it clean, 0 incident points. Despite the mistake at the start, I was able to claw my way back up from 10th position to 2nd. So very happy with that. And I survived all that carnage, which was a really, really fun race. So, if you guys have any comments or any suggestions for, let's say, D-License, what tracks, what kind of series should I run for Oval, leave them down below. If you have any tips or tricks just in Oval in general, leave them down below also. If you like the video, give it a like. If you have any other suggestions or you see me want to do anything, leave a comment down below. I always want to hear from you guys, and I hope you enjoy this video. Not sure what video is going to come up next, but it might be a Ferrari, might be an F4 next, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.